Now that the Affordable Care Act has been ruled that it is constitutional, before this happened, Senator Tom Coburn, a Republican from Oklahoma, told the Eagle Daily Investor that what Obamacare is trying to do is Sovietize the American healthcare system. Now, when he appeared on CBS's Face the Nation, he was asked exactly what he meant by that.
Well, let me ask you about something you said this week to your Eagle Daily Investor about what this plan does. Let's play a little bit of that tape.
What we're trying to do with the Affordable Care Act is Sovietize the American healthcare system. And I want to tell you, it didn't work out well for the Soviet system.
What did you mean by that? Sovietize?
Well, that means the bureaucrats and politicians are in charge of your health care. And that's exactly what this has done. There's not going to be equal choice. Remember the components of this bill. There's an IPAB bill. There is, in fact, the Preventative Services Task Force that is going to mandate what care will be given and what care won't be. There's the Innovation Council that will approve or disapprove of any new innovation. We have 3 agencies that are going to totally take away the options of your freedom about your care and what you and your physician decide is best for you. So what I'm saying is you're going to have a bureaucracy, and I want to tell you, the bureaucracy at CMS isn't working. The bureaucracy in terms of HRSA isn't working. The government bureaucracies today is one of the reasons costs are out of control. They're not a reason that they're lower. They have actually raised the cost of health care.
This is one of the things I really like about being Canadian. Having universal health care and then listening to politicians in the U.S. talk about universal health care and completely misrepresenting the entire thing. And I know this for a fact because I have it. Now, they talk about this big, overwhelming bureaucracy that's going to make decisions for you and restrict your choices and blah, blah, blah. No. Actually, in the entire healthcare that I've received my entire life, not once has anyone but me actually made a decision. Obviously, my parents when I was a minor. But as an adult, no one in the government has ever made a decision on my healthcare. That does not happen. The only times that happens is when someone lacks power of attorney or the person is mentally incompetent for whatever reason, suffers from a severe mental illness. So that's a complete fraud on their part. Now, in terms of supposedly making healthcare more expensive, that's also a complete lie. When compared to other countries, in fact, the U.S. is already paying the most in GDP, while wasting trillions on war. The reason why statements like this, these scaremongering tactics, are put out is so that people will vote against their own interests. Now, of course, the guy doesn't have a real argument against the Obamacare. I mean, there are things that are wrong with it and so forth. I mean, universal health care would be the right thing to do. However, that is not what this does. Resorting to fear tactics by bringing up an old U.S. enemy shows the complete and utter weakness of his arguments. Instead of a rational, put forward argument that details why something is supposedly wrong, he instead resorts to this. That shows the complete and utter weakness of his position. And as a side note, I'd like to note how often the Soviet Union is brought up to scare people in America. It's interesting to see how the Soviet Union seems to be more a part of the U.S. identity than it does this as the identity of the people in Russia. That's very strange.